This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Enter the world of sports the way you want with EA Sports College Football 26. Whether you rise through the ranks as a coach or chase greatness from high school recruit to Heisman, build your legacy and wear your colors with pride. Buy College Football 26 now at go.ea.com/MVP-bundle and bring glory home today. EA Sports College Football 26 is rated E for everyone. Includes in-game purchases, including random items.
The number one selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Got a car to sell but no time to waste? Hop on to Carvana.com to get a real offer for your car in seconds. All you have to do is enter your license plate, answer a few quick questions, and if you accept the offer, Carvana will pay you as soon as you hand the keys over. They even offer same-day pickup in many cities. Save your time, score some cash, and sell your car the convenient way to Carvana. Pickup times vary. Fees may apply.
I love ravioli.
Oh, tanta fame.
Since when do you speak Italian?
Since we partnered with SAP Concur, their integrated travel and expense platform and breakthrough solutions with AI gave me time back to dive into our financial future. We expand into Europe in 2027, so I'm getting ready.
Well, you can predict the future?
I can predict you'll like that message.
What message? Whoa, hey, we all got bonuses.
You can save for college now.
I don't have kids.
You don't say.
SAP Concur helps your business move forward faster. Learn more at concur.com.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
The Jack Welch Management Institute at Strayer University helps you go from, I know the way, to I've arrived with our top 10 ranked online MBA. Gain skills you can learn today and apply tomorrow. Get ready to go from make it happen to made it happen and keep striving. Visit strayer.edu/JackWelchMBA to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.
This episode is brought to you by Blink, an Amazon company. Think you're ready for Prime Day? With up to 50% off Blink Smart Security, you will be. With crisp HD video, real-time alerts, and two-way talk, you'll know the moment your packages arrive. Save big on Blink Smart Security, starting at just $19.99 with the Blink Mini 2 plug-in camera. Shop now at amazon.com/blink.
Hey business owners, we know you know the importance of maximizing every dollar. With the Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business American Express card, you can make your expenses work just as hard as you. From afternoon coffee runs to stocking office supplies and even team dinners, you can earn miles on all your business expenses. Plus, you can earn 110,000 bonus miles for a limited time through July 16th. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business Card. If you travel, you know. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply. Offer ends 7/16/25.
Welcome to the HCI family of podcasts. We're your source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development. We share our own original research, explore industry trends, and interview executives and thought leaders from across the globe. Join us for practitioner-oriented content around all things leadership, HR, talent management, organizational development, and change management. Maximize your personal and organizational potential with the HCI family of podcasts.
Amy Gilliland, welcome to the conversation today.
So great to be with you, John. Thanks for having me.
It is a pleasure to be with you. You're joining us from the DC area. I'm south of Salt Lake City in Utah. And today we're going to be talking about how companies can be the solution to the loneliness epidemic. You know, this is something I think that's gotten a lot of media attention, or at least more so since the COVID pandemic. As people were shut in and social isolation and such, you know, we started to talk about it more and more, but this actually isn't new. This is something that has been a problem for a long time. I'm a sociologist. And so, I think back to even in school when I first started to read like Durkheim and some of the other sociologists and theorists, this has been something people have been talking about for hundreds of years. But it's only become more and more present in the age of social media, and especially with younger generations, younger millennials and Gen Z. Like, this is a really big issue. I also know that I've seen studies that for males, there's a heightened sense of loneliness among men compared to women. There's just all these different things. Like, loneliness is an epidemic. It's a big, big challenge. And so what can we do generally in society to solve this problem? What can we do in families and communities? But also, what can we do within our organizations? What can companies do? Because people spend the vast majority of their time, the vast majority of their waking hours at work. And if we want companies to be successful, if we want our people to thrive and to be productive and, all of those things, it also behooves us to help tackle this problem, right? So this is what we're going to be unpacking and exploring together today. As we get started, I wanted to share Amy's bio with everybody. Amy Gilliland is president of General Dynamics Information Technology, a business unit of General Dynamics Corporation. GDIT is an $8.5 billion global technology enterprise with operations in 30 countries worldwide and 30,000 technologists and services professionals delivering critical missions capabilities across defense, civilian, and intelligence agencies. Gilliland has more than 25 years of public sector experience, including services in the U.S. Navy and nearly 2 decades in leadership positions at General Dynamics. There's a whole lot more I could say, but Amy, I'm going to pause there. Anything you would like to highlight by way of your background or personal context before we dive on in further?
No, just I think I would underscore that GDIT is in the national security business, and I think that's relevant to this discussion because our mission is to protect the national security of our country, and so having employees that can come to work in the mental state and be happy and able to thrive is really important for our mission and our customers. So.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
This episode is brought to you by Polestar. There's only one true way to experience the all-electric luxury SUV Polestar 3, and that's to take a test drive. It can go from 0 to 60 in as little as 4.8 seconds with the dynamic handling of a sports car.
But to truly understand how it commands the road, you need to be behind the wheel. Up to 350 miles of range, the 3D surround sound system by Bowers & Wilkins. It's all something you have to experience to believe. So book your test drive for Polestar 3 today at polestar.com.
Close your eyes, exhale, feel your body relax, and let go of whatever you're carrying today.
Well, I'm letting go of the worry that I wouldn't get my new contacts in time for this class. I got them delivered free from 1-800-CONTACTS. Oh my gosh, they're so fast.
And breathe.
Oh, sorry. I almost couldn't breathe when I saw the discount they gave me on my first order. Oh, sorry. Namaste.
Visit 1-800-CONTACTS.com today to save on your first order.
1-800-CONTACTS. If you went on a road trip and you didn't stop for a Big Mac or drop a crispy fry between the car seats or use your McDonald's bag as a placemat, then that wasn't a road trip. It was just a really long drive. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At participating McDonald's.
Yes, absolutely. I think the workplace has a huge responsibility to help address this issue, as you discussed at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, well, and when we think about the national defense, that adds other layers to this in terms of mental health, right. Anxiety, PTSD, like all of those things. Added layers and intersections with loneliness. That just complicates things even further, right?
That's such a good point. So another to drill down on the national security mission that we serve, as well as providing government services to Americans. About a third of my workforce are veterans, and of my 28,000 employees, about 15,000 of them have security clearances. And so in both of those populations, there has been an historic stigma about mental health and whether you can get help, how that would be perceived. And there's a general reticence to do so. And at the same time, particularly for veterans, there is a heightened rate of suicide. And so the problems are real, but the willingness to address them for many reasons has been significantly less than one would hope it would be.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and dive on in. I shared some high level stuff, just kind of off the top of my head, like some of the things I know I've read about, I've heard about, but you're an expert in this space. Tell us, some of the things around this loneliness epidemic
Sure.
to paint the picture for us.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm an expert. I run a IT services company, but I have definitely been interested in this topic, and we have been working on this for the last couple of years. So very vested in it. So you raise a great point, which is that COVID seemed to be a turning point in the epidemic of loneliness. So yes, it's been around for decades, and yes, with the advent of social media, particularly our younger generations would rather text somebody than call them. Goodness, they would never want to leave a voicemail message, but they would prefer technology to human engagement. Then we had that exacerbated by COVID, where people really were locked in. And now, in the aftermath of COVID, you find various work postures, hybrid or remote. And so people are spending less time together. They are joining, they're going to church less, they're joining organizations less, they're participating in community activities less. And then when they do come to work, only about 8% of their time is spent in face-to-face meetings. So they're holed away in their office. Zoom has been an incredible tool. You and I are using it now, but we're not seeing and touching each other. And so the reality of how much time people spend by themselves is real. And so we definitely see that at GDIT in terms of the problem set. Compounding that, you highlighted, which I also have tracked, that you see heightened rates of mental health challenges in the younger generation. So we're talking 18 to 25. As my older workforce retires and my newer workforce comes in, that represents a significant part of my workforce feeling that way. We had, for example, a brown bag lunch session for our early career employees, and they broke the internet here at GDIT, which is really hard to do. in talking about depression and isolation in youth. And we also know, I have children, I'm a mother of 3, that our children have just gone through pandemic education. Some of them missed their high school graduations, they missed their college in person, all sorts of things that have happened. People have, their death has been real, financial struggles are real with the economy, and you put all that together and it's a bit of a tinderbox. And so, the statistics are anywhere from 1 in 5 to 1 in 4 Americans dealing with some kind of mental health issue. That's a quarter to a third of, our population. That's significant. And so the struggle is real, John. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. The struggle's real. I am a father of 6 children. I have 4
Oh my
teenagers.
goodness, John, you are busy.
So I have 4 teenagers at the moment. They're all packed together. So I have one, my oldest, who just left the teenage years, and then I have 4 teenagers, and then I have one that's almost a teenager. So they're all lumped in there, right? They're all of that age. And I'll tell you, yeah, from a parent's perspective, it's hard. Like it's always been hard for teenagers. Like I think when I was a teenager, it was hard. Like being a teenager is a hard time. Hormones, all of that, right? But it's extra hard now. It's harder now than it was before. And I feel for them,
The Surgeon General, has been highlighting loneliness as an epidemic for our youth. And by the way, I've been highlighting how hard it is to be a parent of the youth. So it is really hard to be. I have my oldest will be a teenager in a month, but he's essentially a teenager now, and it's interesting. Sporty, John, sporty.
I don't remember the exact statistic or anything, but I remember reading about it, something to the effect that like 1 in 4 younger millennial Gen Z members of the workforce say they don't have a friend at work.
Yes.
That something like that to the point that they literally feel that level of loneliness where they don't have someone they connect with. They
So
don't
it's interesting. I read a statistic that said previously, so sometime before now, somewhere between around 75% of people knew their colleagues well on a personal level. And that number is somewhere in the mid 60s now. So I think what you say is really true. People, and if you're working remotely, it's hard to establish those kinds of relationships.
Yeah. And, I think it's harder and harder for people to develop friendships outside of work because we're more socially isolated. And so one of the primary ways of developing friendships is in the workplace. And if more and more people aren't developing friendships in the workplace, then where are you developing them? So it's just a hard thing. So what does that mean for what organizations can do? Like what is the role organizations can play? And that's a bit of a fraught topic because are organizations supposed to play matchmaker? And that's a problem. You're not trying to play hookup with your employees. That's a mess that you don't want to wade into. But what can organizations do to foster an open sense of community, belonging, even friendship, where people can feel not so lonely, where they feel like they can have a community, where they feel like they can have friends?
Yeah, I'd say a couple of things. So first of all, I think everything that we've talked about is the business case for why the office has to be part of the solution to this loneliness epidemic. So with that being the case, what can companies do? First, we can be very deliberate about bringing people together. So we have found as a business that we are more collaborative and innovative when we are together. That's not to say it can't happen when we're apart, but when people do come into the office, do they need to be by themselves, holed away in their office for everything but 8% of their day? No, we need to find that when we come together, we're deliberate about how we do that. We need to be deliberate about having pizza lunches, like a opportunity to listen to music after work together, those kinds of community activities. You don't have to come to them, but as a business, we need to be thoughtful about making those opportunities to build community. And so that is one thing we've really focused on. We have a campaign this year called Find Your Community. We found during COVID, particularly in the aftermath of some of the social crises that our country experienced, that employees wanted to come together, and our employee resource groups really took off. So at a company like GDIT, creating community can be as simple as a part of the organization having a pizza lunch once a month, which our defense business does once a month. Anybody can come. You don't have to come, but you can come. It can be bringing our technologists together to talk about a topic that they're particularly interested in. That helps them progress in their career. And hey, there's a bunch of cloud folks that really like talking about how you migrate to the cloud, and they're very interested in being with other cloud specialists. So you can build community and learn something that you're all interested in. Or it can be in places like we just talked about, perhaps our Black employee network wants to come together to, it could be a community activity that they engage in. It could be a holiday that they're celebrating, et cetera, et cetera. It could be our early career group coming together to put up a lunch talk, like I just described, to talk about loneliness in early career employees. And so we have tried to find ways to help employees connect. So that's one way. I think the next way that is really important, honestly, is to make this part of the dialogue at work. So we are not aiming to be a clinical center. We are not your psychologist or psychiatrist. We are not substituting for your mental health provider. But we are saying and acknowledging that this is a real problem, and that just statistically in the world, we have 28,000 employees, and the trends that we see in society apply at work also. We have an important mission, and that it is okay to not be okay. So starting that dialogue, which we did a couple of years ago, we have a campaign called How Are You Really? Which is, John, how are you really doing? Not, hey, how was your weekend? And you say, oh, I'm living the dream. It was great. And you move on. It was like, no, John, you don't seem yourself today. I'm just checking on you. Is everything okay? You didn't show up in the meeting like you normally do. Taking a couple of minutes where employees are checking on each other and managers are checking on employees, so that, yeah, again, I'm not pushing you to talk about something that you don't want to talk about, but I want you to know I care, and I want you to know I see you. And the third thing is, once you have started that dialogue, which back to our earlier part of the conversation is really important when you have large segments of your population that are inclined not to, is to have the right resources. And so we've really focused on making sure that we have mental health benefits and mental health guides that enable our employees to find the right resources and our managers to help our employees do so.
Yeah, those are some really great tips. What I'm hearing is really to just be intentional, to be thoughtful about what you're going to try to do. There's probably not a one-size-fits-all solution to this for any organization. It probably largely depends on the culture of your organization, the type of organization you are, the types of employees you have, and kind of what their wants and desires, their motivations, perhaps the types of jobs and even career stage and life stage that they're in. All of those things probably are going to feed into what's going to resonate and what they find to be important and valuable.
Yeah, I agree. I would tell you two things about that. One, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. So your point about intentionality, it's really more about that. To keep the dialogue going, I was really clear with my employees when we started talking about that this wasn't my email of the week or my email of the month. This was going to be a sustained conversation because this is a serious issue that takes serious attention. And secondly, you're right. You have to decide as a company what kind of company you want to be. We have said that we want GDIT to be a company with a soul. So people come to this company because they want to work with other people that are supportive and collaborative. And we have an expectation for our leaders and managers to be compassionate and empathetic, albeit accountable. You have to deliver. But that is the kind of company we want to be. And you're right. You walk into the door here knowing that. And I will tell you, employees care about that. They want to know that you care about them.
Yeah. And I think most people want to be in that kind of an organization, even if you are in a more of a cutthroat kind of a industry, more cutthroat kind of an organization. And we know there are industries and organizations like that. There are places like that where that's the culture, and some people thrive in that kind of a culture and they want to be in that kind of a culture. But even if you're in that kind of an organization, people still like appreciate being someplace where they're valued and where they like can show up and like know that people, like care about them, like I think that's still like a human need. And so regardless of where you're at, just have those conversations, be open, be transparent, have the conversation, have the dialogue, and see what your people need. Because people are really good at putting on a mask. They're really good at, putting on that facade and acting like everything's fine. You said like on Monday morning, how was your weekend? What did you do? And everyone's like, oh, it was great. And, they might rattle off the things that they did, or they might say, oh, I didn't really do anything, but I just had a nice relaxing weekend, but behind the mask, they had all of these hard things happen that they're not willing to say or share. And they might be really struggling, or they might have spent the whole weekend depressed and at home and feeling lonely because they had no one or anything to do or no one to be with, that's just the reality, right? Like that's what people are struggling with.
Well, and social media encourages that behavior, right? Nobody posts anything they don't post bad pictures on social media. They don't post imperfect weekends. Because that's not the news that people are out there, swiping to read. So you're 100% right. And, just to be clear, we believe, and I have seen evidence from our own performance, that having a compassionate but accountable culture it produces not only better retention of employees, but it produces better innovation and better performance. The thing is, when people think that you care about them and their careers and how their families are doing, but they respect that you're holding them accountable to deliver, they will work harder, lean in, innovate better, that they will deliver in ways that if they feel isolated or not seen, perhaps they might not.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Amy, this has just been a really great conversation. I know at the time I need to let you go and get on with your busy day, but before we wrap things up, I just wanted to give you a chance to share with the audience how they can connect with you, find out more about your work, your team, and then give us the final word on the topic for today.
Sure. So one thing I want to highlight, we did launch this How Are You Really campaign, and we have a lot of resources that we have developed, which are free for anybody to access. So for instance, we have Manager Conversation Guide. Perhaps you see that there's something wrong with an employee. You can tell it, but you're anxious about having the conversation. How do you have that conversation? How can that be less awkward? How can you behave in that environment? How does an employee have that conversation with their manager? We have an employee conversation guide. We have a guide that shows the real facts on security clearances and getting mental health advice or help. The bottom line there is that almost never will your security clearance be taken away because you've sought mental health resources. So gdit.com/mental health, all the resources are there. So please, if your audience is looking for how they might adopt some of this for their own organizations, they're all free. It could be a great starting point. We haven't necessarily, they're not perfect, but they have worked well for our organization. And I guess just to sort of cap this off, I believe strongly that work and home life are blended in ways that they've never been before. And so the workplace can be a source of help, and we can help our employees by talking about the loneliness epidemic, by being intentional when we are together so that we can create connection and community, which doesn't exist in our external lives in the way it once did. And we can create a dialogue where people can speak up and talk about when they need help. And I think it's incumbent upon leaders to set that example and create cultures where that is very much how the organization thinks and feels and delivers, being that company with a soul.
Yeah, I love it. Let's always strive to be that company with a soul. There's so much need here. I think there's so much we can do. Amy, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I encourage the audience to reach out, to get connected, find out more about what Amy and her team can do for you. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe, that you can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the podcast. We hope you stay healthy and safe, and please join us again soon.